This is the Vegan Champion Podcast. Welcome to the show. On today's episode, we have for you a conversation with none other than Durianrider. He's a polarizing figure in the health and fitness world, and it was really interesting to sit down with him, hear his story, and pick his brain. That's today's show, episode 3 of the Vegan Champion Podcast. What's happening, everybody? My name is Jason Fonger, and I'm the host here at the Vegan Champion Podcast. The idea behind this podcast is to showcase people who are out there doing amazing things for the vegan movement, people who are champions of the vegan message, if you will. Today's guest is one of, if not the most active vegans on all of social media. Harley Johnstone, aka Durianrider, as he goes by on social media, has a seemingly tireless work ethic when it comes to creating and uploading content which promotes a healthy vegan lifestyle. I came across Durianrider's YouTube videos back in 2010, and his message definitely inspired me in many ways. Since then, he has become a mentor and friend of mine, and I definitely have to thank him for helping me get to where I am today in terms of the life I'm living and the level of fitness I have attained. It was great to sit down with Harley to have this conversation. I think by listening to this, you're likely to gain a better understanding of him and his message. Just a heads up, this was recorded in a room that was a bit boomy, so the audio is less than perfect. My apologies for that. I'm still very new to this podcast thing, but I promise you that the quality of these episodes will improve as time goes on. Okay, let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Harley Johnstone, aka Durianrider. So what's happening, Harley?
Just here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, back in town.
Yeah, man.
Enjoying the vegan food here.
The vegan festival.
Yeah, the Thailand Vegan Festival at the moment is going off again.
Yeah, man. When was the first time that you came to Thailand?
2005.
2005. And then, so did you come to Chiang Mai that time?
No, that was first time in Chiang Mai was 2010. 2010, and we just moved my little knee here.
Yeah.
2010, December 2010, came to Thailand, Chiang Mai. Me and Freddie came here, and I was like, we're on the doi.
Yeah.
I think it's my first Strava post on the doi.
Nice.
I think I did like a 37 or 38 minutes, and I was going full gas.
That's not bad.
Went a couple of Thai guys.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that was a good trip.
So what did you notice since the first time that you came to Thailand and now? Have you noticed any changes?
A lot more population, a lot more, pollution, less fruit, more fast food, more meaty Western stuff. People have definitely gotten fatter.
Yeah.
Back in 2005, like all the girls you'd see, not all of them, but like most of them were super slim. Now it's it's easy to find fat people in Thailand.
For sure.
Still feel incredibly safe here. People still super friendly. But yeah, the fruit quality has gone down. Fruit availability has gone down.
Why do you think that is?
Just more into the dairy ice creams and the chocolate.
Yeah.
So they get their sweet fix from that.
Right.
And the fruit culture I find is the old people. The old people buying the Ganyard durian or things like that, and then the young people are a bit more like grown up now with the ice creams and sweets more than fruit. Yeah. So you don't see the fruit consumption as much as you used to see in 2005. And back then I was like a raw foodist, so I really you're locking down where's the food.
Yeah.
And now I imagine myself as a raw foodist again, thinking, man,
really
even
hard.
today, me and Natasha were laughing at where's the fruit or where's the quality fruit? Like we bought a massive bag of we bought 2 papayas that chopped up for us. Super friendly, super cheap, but there's just no sugar and there's just no calories.
Yeah.
So then we went to, so there's definitely less and less fruit quality.
Yeah, it's sad, man, because I guess people are just, the Thai people seem to be following in Western culture's footsteps, all the fast food, ice cream, all of that stuff is taking priority, and then I guess the fruit is just going down. Which is unfortunate. What do you think? Can we do anything about that to get the fruit quality back up?
I mean, I like to be the optimist on the I'm the Virgo Sagittarius moon, which means I'm a dreaming idealist. So I like to believe we can change the world, but the realist part of me knows that we can't, because it's just human ego. Like we're so money hungry, we're so into fame and power, and yes, scaling the ladder, and it's just nature just gets the full backhand. Like people, I mean, you go to the food court here, you watch the Chinese come in, not to be racist or anything, but just like, you know, Chinese, and I've got Chinese friends and they're super friendly, and I deal with Chinese business people all the time with bikes and stuff. So, but what I noticed though is it seems to be a total disregard of the environment, and the same in Australia, Aussies as well. But here it's like, if you said to a Chinese person, don't use plastic bags or whatever, they'd be like, what? Why not? Like, what's wrong with that? And I guess if you explain it to them, they probably understand it, because the Chinese are very, very smart. But you see them just a plastic bag to a plastic bag to a plastic bag. The Chinese economy is just growing so fast, and same in India as well. So the environment is like, doesn't make money, so people don't care about it. So,
for sure.
So it's very cutthroat out there. So I don't think we're going to save it, but let's pretend we can. It's better to do that than to give up.
Yeah, you got to try to do the best you can, right?
Always be part of the solution versus part of the pollution.
Durianrider, where'd you get your nickname?
Durianrider came from in 2005 when I was in Thailand, when they couldn't really pronounce the name Harley, and this random Thai guy at the bike shop, I think he just said, Durianrider, you ride bike, you're a Durianrider.
Yeah. And
then I was on the Raw Food Forum called Raw Pleasure back then, and I thought that's a cool sort of name, Durianrider.
And that was in, did you say Canterbury?
That was Canterbury 2005.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been on forums since 2003, on vegan forums and stuff.
Nice, man.
That's where Durianrider came from.
Cool.
So yeah.
Very cool. Let's talk about life before you went vegan, man.
Life before I went vegan.
Like growing up, you were not really that athletic as a kid, were you?
No, I was like into Nike shoes and into bikes back in the 80s when I grew up, born in 77, August 23rd, 77. So in the 80s, almost all the kids in Australia were BMXs, you know. It was like who had a Redline or a GT or a Haro or a Diamondback or a Mongoose, and yeah, that was status, was your BMX. And my single mum, she didn't have much money, we never had bling bikes, but my brother got a $300 Redline, and I used to steal that on the weekends and ride around, and you didn't think I was the coolest kid in the neighbourhood, you know. And so yeah, so I had that passion for cycling early on, but I was a sick kid, the asthmatic, always feeling crap. And so I became in and out of hospital with asthma and chronic fatigue and digestive issues. So
was that through your teen years, or?
That was probably from 8 until I went vegan in 2001.
Okay.
So it was 2001, I was 24.
Okay.
About. So yeah.
So you were a little bit into like bikes just because it was a cool thing.
Yeah. And
just like most normal kids are, right? Like I remember being, cruising around your neighborhood or whatever.
Adventure.
Yeah.
Independence.
Yeah, exactly.
Away from mum, like dad.
Yeah.
Away from responsibility, mature adults. Use your own imagination. Go riding with your friends, or go exploring the bushes and the tracks and trails. So we used to ride BMXs on trails and stuff. So yeah, that's where the cycling came in. Mm-hmm. Just that pleasure and riding around, thinking I was going to be a BMX racer, and then having a big, massive crash at the BMX track, and then totally giving up on that dream.
So you had a crash?
Yeah, I had a big crash.
What happened?
Just knocked myself out, and then I just
like on a jump, or
on a jump.
Yeah,
just trying to scale a jump, and then I just gave up.
Man, I had a few crashes, like jumps and stuff, and I think I was lucky I never broke anything. Yeah. But yeah, looking back, I'm surprised I didn't have more crashes and just mess myself up. Yeah. But that's sort of scared you away from being a BMX.
Scared me away from doing stunts. I appreciate it. But then I'd do distance stuff on a BMX. I'd ride to the next suburb, and I'd come home and look on the street direction. Let's tell my mum I rode to Sale Terrace. She's like, "What? You rode to Ocean Reef? Like, isn't that too far?" I said, "I feel alright." She was, "Wow." And then I got that feeling of significance from my mum, and then also got the sense of adventure. Yeah. And so very strong drives just to go to explore. Mm-hmm. And then the bicycle is a transformation tool. It's a freedom machine.
So that was sort of consistent throughout your teenage years, like using the bike to just get around town.
Go to parties, ride to school, cruise around. Yeah.
Now you talk sometimes also about your past use with drugs and getting into that kind of thing. So when did that start?
I'd say the first drug I used was probably alcohol, maybe 7 or 8. Dad gave me a beer, and that one beer just hit me hard, and I remember climbing a tree and falling out of the tree, hit my head.
That was the first time?
Yeah, and then I was just thinking, wow, like I don't really feel normal, what's going on? And my brother said, you're probably a bit drunk.
Yeah. You're 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
That's pretty young.
Yeah.
I guess it's just sort of like here, I'll try have a taste.
Yeah. I think I snuck off with the beer.
Okay.
And just drank it. But either way, I was, it was cloudy in the head, drunk. And then first I had the illicit drugs like the marijuanas, etc. Would be about 14. Just eating some marijuana leaves on the back of a prawn cracker with my brother at a Chinese restaurant in Happy Valley, Kenny Road. And so I then started smoking dope a few years after that, and then got into the LSD and the speed and the ecstasy and other recreational drugs, and then just fell into that rut for a few years there.
So was that a large part of your life? Like, was that sort of your? At what point did your life sort of start to revolve around that?
That was the 90s. That was the social group. I was in graffiti, shoplifting Lacoste jackets and Nike Air Maxes and Levi 501s and Ralph Lauren stuff. So that was the culture back in South Adelaide area, and we just used to be obsessed with graffiti, and part of that was the hip hop culture with marijuana and things like that, and you just that became your normality. And then eventually got out of that when I wanted to get more into fitness.
So it was a social thing. Do you think were you using it to escape, or do you think that there were other factors at play, or primarily a social, trying to fit in sort of?
Probably, I think most people get into drugs as peer expectation, peer pressure, and just to try it out, just curiosity as well. Was I trying to escape anything? I think I was trying to escape maybe a few insecurities or whatever normal teenage stuff most people go through. But I quickly realised that after a few years, I'm like, man, I've got to choose. I don't want to be drug fucked, and I've got to change my ways. And I got knocked out in a fight in January '96, and I got knocked out. And I was sober at the time, and I just remember thinking, man, if I was high, that wouldn't have felt very good at all. Felt bad enough, bleeding from my nose and stuff. So I got knocked out, and I was saying, I ain't doing drugs no more. And then about a year later, I smoked some dope at a party, and I just really didn't enjoy that cloudiness anymore. And I enjoyed the stimulants, I enjoyed the buzz of that, but the next day you're just trashed. And I'm like, how can I find a way where I can feel higher, without the come down? And then that's when I started experimenting with diet and stuff like that.
Okay.
And went from there.
So what was, you mentioned that you started getting into fitness and getting that high from fitness, from moving your body. So what was that? What did that segue look like from going to parties, getting your high from these various substances? Like how did you bridge that gap?
The bridge of the gap was became known as the sober guy. I was the first person in my group to stop doing drugs, and so I got a sense of significance. And as teenagers, we all want significance. And even as adults as well, we love that significance, but especially as teenagers, So I got that significance of being a sober guy, and then started riding my bike to parties, and people were like, Harley rode 10Ks to Blackwood to get on the party tonight. People were like, you're sick, and so I got that sense of significance. I remember totally 13Ks one time. And I was cooked.
Oh, wow.
I rode from the Blackwood train station to Happy Valley, Kenhans Road, Delhi, bought a Gatorade, because I thought, well, now I'm an athlete, I need that sports drink. And I had two friends there, Megan and Shay, and they're like, you look cooked, Harley, what happened? So I was just reading from Blackwood Station, like, oh my God, Blackwood Station, 13Ks. And I was like, yeah. And this was the first time those girls were really stoked. They're like, wow, it's a pretty good effort. And I was like, yes, this cycling thing's pretty good. The girls give me praise, my mates give me praise, I'm feeling good. I'm riding bikes, I love riding bikes, so it just became very addictive really quickly. And it became just a full-on addiction, unstoppable.
Interesting. Yeah. So there wasn't initially any sort of social group that you had for fitness. It was
nothing.
More like lone wolf.
Totally just me needing a form of transport, and then I was like, wow, I'm saving money on bus fares. People would get me inspired by my cycling. This is win-win. And I just fell into it. And I go to a bike shop, hang out at the bike shop, and people give me all these tips, and so that's why I guess I like to give people tips, because I remember when I was a total noob, no idea. Had these A-grade racers just give me tips, and I didn't even have a road bike, I was on a mountain bike, but these guys would give me tips, and one of the guys was called Darren, and he was basically one of the guys that taught me to carve up. So he was, and then when I started carving up even more, I was just like, man, I can ride forever.
Yeah.
It was light bulbs ticking off, so it was really, really good times.
You mentioned that you also had some of these health problems like asthma and I think Crohn's disease.
Yep.
what did that look like? Like, I mean, getting over those, or I mean, do you still feel the effects of like asthma, or I mean, when did that start to? When did you make that connection between sort of lifestyle and managing those symptoms?
Well, when I started riding the bike more, I would feel better. Like my breathing was better. Maybe at the start I'd be like wheezy, but I'd cough up a bit of phlegm and spit it out. And I was like, I'm detoxing. I'm getting my body moving, lymph system going. I used to read physiology books and try to understand how the body would work. And so I said, okay, the more I ride, the better my digestion is.
Yeah.
And then I started playing on diet. Then I became almost like an accidental vegetarian, where I was too cheap or too lazy to cook up meat and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so at home, one of the staples was just literally rice and sweet chili sauce for dinner. Maybe canned beans on there.
I love that. Rice and sweet chili sauce. So good.
So it was like, or I'd have cereal with milk,
Yeah.
And so the vegetarian stuff. So a lot of the meals became vegetarian because it was cheaper and more satisfying, and I didn't have all these greasy pots and pans to cook up. And so
was that when you were still into the drugs? You were still riding your bike around?
No, I stopped drugs when I was sort of about a year after I moved out of home.
Okay.
And so then I became more a cyclist, and I found riding whilst high, I didn't feel safe on the bike. I'd be like being stoned on the bike and feel a bit like paranoid and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember having a bike crash. I was stoned as well, and crashing the bike, and I was stoned. And I'm like, man, when you're stoned, your concentration's not so good. So I started to attach a lot of negativity to drugs,
right,
and more positivity to cycling.
Okay.
And so the marijuana was getting away with cycling, and so I said, I don't like this no more as well.
Mm-hmm.
So all this leverage. I never actually did amphetamines while I was riding a bike, which is probably a good thing, because they definitely make you ride faster.
Right.
But yeah.
Cool, man. So what the motivation for getting into fitness was, I mean, initially just getting around town, and then it became more serious with, starting to get some praise.
Yeah.
And then you started to get, some advice from, was it Darren? Or
Yeah, Darren, yeah.
Darren, who started, saying, you just got to carb up more, more sugars.
Yeah.
So then how did you get really to the next level where you're really like, okay, I want to do this as sport, and I want to start really, seeing what I can do here? Because eventually you did race.
Yeah, race crits and stuff. In '97, I met a guy who went to my high school. My friend Scott Day introduced me to him. His name was Johnny Jeffries, and he was a member of a cycling club called Noarlunga Cycling Club, and we met up, went for a ride, and he was the first guy I'd really seen wearing lycra. And I remember going to the car park at Foodland, Happy Valley, and he turns up in his lycra. He's wearing some Mape kit. And I was like, wow, this guy wears lycra, and he shaves his legs.
Yeah.
And from my graffiti culture, it was all a bit like, it's a bit like sort of weird.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, that's what bike riders do then. They be more aero. So I'm in my Nike t-shirt and Nike tennis shorts riding along, and with another guy called Mike Smith who went up Mount Lofty.
You still on a mountain bike, or?
I was on a road bike by then.
Road bike, yeah.
Road bike in September '97. Worked 1 month at night shift in a factory to get it. And it was a blue Avanti Corsa with 8-speed Ortega 600, and it was a great bike. Eventually cracked and got warranty on the frame. But
so you rock up with this bike?
Yeah, rock up with and Johnny. We're going to take him Mount Lofty.
Yeah.
So we went up Green Hill Road. And those guys just totally cooked me. And I'm just trying to keep up with them. I was just so gassed. Like legs were cramping up, and oh man, it was. But when I got home, I was like so cooked, but so buzzing as well.
It was your first sort of taste of real power, I guess.
Yeah, just seeing guys flog me.
Yeah.
And go, wow, I'm not as fit as I thought it was.
Yeah.
And And then
riding 13Ks to the parties isn't so impressive.
And that was maybe a 50 or 60K ride.
And how old? This is, you said 97?
Actually, sorry, I'd done I'd done a couple of 100K rides before this.
Okay.
But this is the first ride I'd done with fast guys.
Okay.
So yeah.
And so did you start riding with them regularly? Go back next week?
Yeah. Me and Johnny would do rides, and soon my fitness went up and up because he'd give me some tips about pacing and drafting and stuff. And then he goes, you should try and do a bike race, a criterium. A criterium meaning like a 1 hour race around a sort of a street circuit. And so I turned up my first criterium. It was December 1997. Again, didn't have any lycra. Turned up in shorts and t-shirt, and had my first race in D grade. The guy at the start line said, E grade's already left. I'll put you in D grade. You will get dropped. Don't worry, you will get dropped. So don't beat yourself up. And I saw that as a challenge. I'm not going to get dropped. And I didn't get dropped, but I had to give it everything. That first race, I was so cooked. I was so cooked.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
And managed to stick on.
Yeah, no, everyone was yelling at me in the pack, so I wasn't holding the line, and then the guy said, "Oh, you did well, but next time you race, you've got to have a lycra. You got to have a kit." So I went out that kit that week and bought a jersey, the Knicks. I felt like Lance Armstrong.
One of the gang.
Felt like one of the gang.
Yeah.
And I used to like envy all the people in C grade and B grade and A grade. It's like, wow, those guys are so fit. One day I'll be there. And it's just a really good community and good times.
How far did you take it with the crit racing? Did you eventually work your way up?
Oh yeah, I was racing A grade crits. Did hundreds of crits, I reckon, hundreds of bike races. We used to race crits twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
At Regency Park, and did a bit of racing in Europe, and just went for it, and it was a good experience.
What was the training like back then when you were training for crits? I mean, I imagine it's a bit different than how you train now, or is it the same kind of approach?
The training for crits, so there's a spider, there was a little baby spiderling on there. The difference is, I would just ride with a couple of mates I met as well. Johnny he got to work at job at Coles, and he was not riding that much, and he met two guys, Jay and Anthony Brooks, and also a friend Todd Lorenz and Paul Reed. And so we would always ride together on the weekends, maybe after work sometimes. But generally we were weekend warriors, go and hammer it. And so these guys were really good mountain bikers, and they gave me a lot of tips on intensity and pushing it hard. But basically we just go ride on the weekends, and I would try and keep up with them.
And they sort of mentoring you a little bit?
Yeah, they were always about 3 minutes faster than any sort of climb of 30 minutes. So I would do Mount Lofty in 30, they do it in 27. So I was like, always trying to keep up with them.
Did you ever have like a formal coach at any point?
I had a lot of mentors and advisors. There was like some good coaches, but they just gave me tips. I went to the AAS, Institute of Sport in Australia, back in 2001 for some testing and stuff as a lab rat. Not as a scholarship, but I was there for like 6 weeks and got to talk to a lot of coaches.
What kind of testing? Like lactate, VO2 max?
Lactate, muscle biopsies. We did the altitude. We were actually the first lab rats to do the altitude.
So what is that?
They made like an altitude house there.
An altitude house?
Yeah.
So you're sleeping?
You're sleeping at altitude.
And it's just oxygen?
Yep. They tweak it.
Yeah.
And so what they did, they needed some decent level cyclists to come and live in this altitude house for 6 weeks. And do muscle biopsies and test all the parameters and stuff. So I was like, I put my hand up for that. So that was really good. Got to have some really good coaches. Dave Martins, who's one of Goodell's old coaches. And so I just got to hear all that doping and everything and the truth and what the deal is. And so it's really eye-opening stuff.
That's pretty cool. So did you learn anything about yourself, about your potential as an athlete?
They said, like when Dave Martin says, if you took drugs, then you could definitely be, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're sort of moderate.
Yeah, I mean, my VO2 max was like 78 at the highest.
And so for somebody who's not sure exactly what that means.
Yeah, it means your oxygen, your body's ability to use oxygen. So
okay. So you're going as hard as you can. How much oxygen can you take in?
Yep.
That's essentially it. And so what is, you said it was about 72?
78.
78?
Highest was 78.
So then how does that compare to let's say a world-class cyclist?
Almost, to be a pro, you at least want to have 65 VO2 max.
Okay.
65 would be a minimum. Like someone like Mark Cavendish or the sprinters probably like 65.
Okay.
But again, it's more about fitness. You've got to have bike handling skills, you've got to have a lot of luck and be able to break your legs in a bike race. Things I never had. So I had the motor, but not the other stuff.
It's crazy, man. The risks the cyclists take. I mean, especially descending is probably the biggest.
Yeah.
Well, but even just riding in a pack, it's.
Yeah, I remember riding to a race in Canberra and crashing. The guy in front of me crashed in the corner, and I went straight over him, Superman into the bushes. Didn't hurt myself over it.
It's a huge reason why I do triathlon, man. I did a couple cycling races, and I saw people go down right beside me, and I was just like, I'd prefer the time trial style.
It's way safer. Yeah, as much as I love bike racing, it is just so dangerous.
Oh yeah, it was so exciting. It was a great experience, and it's just it's such a thrill.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you think about the odds, I mean, you rarely meet people who do cycling races on a regular who haven't had their share of crashes. So
it's true. And as an experienced rider now, there's races I could do where I feel totally safe.
Like a hill climb.
Yeah, or like that stage race did last year in Thailand. 7-day stage race. I felt very safe in there because of my experience level. But if you're a noob, that's when it's the most dangerous. Or if you're a pro, because it's so fast and so cutthroat, you have to really take big risks. So anything between that, for me, is sort of safe. But otherwise, it's so cutthroat as well.
So at what point do you get sort of exposed to veganism? Because you've been sort of accidentally, experimenting with vegetarian foods and stuff.
Yeah.
So when does the vegan message really come into your life?
It came into my life in April 2001. It was probably November 2000 where I got really sick with like fever and gastro and stuff, and I met this guy. He's like, kind of stop eating red meat. It just sits in your gut, doesn't digest properly.
Who said that?
This guy called Mark Hock.
Just a friend?
He was like this naturopath, psycho dude, but cool guy.
Okay. So you said you gotta stop eating red meat?
Yeah, he's a big inspiration. There's no red meat, no dairy.
Okay.
If you're gonna eat any meat, maybe a little bit of fish and chicken, but very, very rarely. So I did that regime, and just felt like so much lighter straight away. Just, better mental clarity, just felt better. And so, do you want to do that one?
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Should we pause or keep talking? Or?
Yeah, we'll just keep talking. I'll just.
So Mark would say, just easy on the animal products and go hard on the rice and the fruit and stuff like that, and soy milk instead of dairy. So I was like, okay, and went with that, and then I went vegan in 2001 April. So I read more about the dairy industry and stuff and meat. Actually, I had a girlfriend at the time. I was eating at a restaurant. I was eating like eggs. She's like, you don't eat chicken, but you eat eggs. She's like, same.
Yeah, same industry.
Thing. And I was like, yeah, you're right. She's like, you're a hypocrite, And I was like, oh, that's brutal. That's honest. That's what I needed to hear. So I'm not eating meat no more then.
So that was about a year before that you had met the guy Mark.
Yeah.
He said, hey, you gotta basically drastically reduce animal products a little bit. So you're still eating a little bit here and there. Sparingly, but enough to notice that your health was improving.
Yeah.
And so initially it was the health, but then this girlfriend who sort of gave you this slap in the face that you needed to really wake up.
Yeah, Jenny. Yeah, we're at Red Rock Cafe on Rundle Street, and she's like, she's a nurse, and she's like, she always used to say that the more the people eat the meat, the sicker they are at work, and the less meat you eat, the healthier you'll be. And she wasn't a big meat eater either, so I had all these, and her sister was a vegetarian, so I had all these little subtle influences in my life, and then they all just piled together. I was like, I'm going vegan. And then when I went full vegan, like in April 2001, then I was like, oh my god, like this is legit. And after a while, you forget how good you feel. It's like when you have a super light bike.
Yeah.
First time you ride, oh my god, this is incredible. And then after a few weeks, you're like, oh, it's just bike. But I'd be like, I didn't go back, but I had friends who would go back and eat chicken or meat or beef and duck. I'd say, how do you feel? And they'd go, oh man, I just feel terrible. My guts, like I'm not shitting no more. I'm constipated as and gagged up. And so I was like, okay, I have to go backwards then. Yeah.
So did you know anything about, did you know much about sort of the animal agriculture industries at that point, or was that sort of learn that later? In terms of, how the animals are treated and the effects on the environment and things like that, were you aware of that from the get-go of going vegan, or was that sort of...
Yeah, I was always like an animal lover. Even when I used to go fishing as a kid, I was 99% of the time throw the fish back because I felt guilty for keeping or killing the fish. So I'd throw them back. When people would leave fish on the jetty flapping around, I'm like, just kill it or throw it back. Like, don't let it flap to death and do something better. So that was always within me, even though I used to go fishing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, I don't have to eat animals. That's good. I don't think eating animals is good for us. And it's not ethical. It's not necessary. Like other things I can eat. I'm not starving on a desert island. And so that whole thing went in. And then I'd sort of learn about the animal industry and the cruelty and stuff. But I'd been on farms before, and I'd hear animals getting slaughtered and stuff, so I knew where it was coming from. But I always thought, you've got to eat meat, it's protein, you've got to have your protein. Animals are there for us to eat. Even if I don't like it, I need to eat them, because it's just nature's design. That's where it's going to live.
So you had this sort of underlying, affection and compassion for animals, but
the dogma
belief, dogma that you have to eat it for health. So I guess that's why when people started recommending to get stuff out and it'll improve your health, once that sort of clicked, then it was you didn't have much resistance.
No, not at all. The resistance got broken down pretty quickly, because I remember the first time they said Mark said red meat's not good for you. I thought this dude's crazy, man. This dude's seriously got some mental health issue.
Yeah.
But he's in great shape. Dude is ripped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't look a steroid dude. He's just like, maybe 70 kilos, just like pumped, striations, and just, he's psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Charismatic guy, funny guy. And so he was infectious. He wasn't some low energy, overweight dude with no fitness. He was like, getting it done. He's like Aussie Bruce Lee. And so as a 20-something kid, I was just like, this is appealing to me. So I'll trust what Mark says. I'll have a go at that. And so
makes a big difference who's saying things.
Everything. We live in such a narcissistic world, and our appearance is definitely important.
For sure. So, what about social media? I mean, let's talk about when does that come into play for you? Because you're going vegan, you're feeling better, you're getting fitter on the bike. At what point do you decide to get on social media and start to share all of this stuff that you've learned, and why?
It would have been 2003 when I was racing bikes in Belgium. I had more spare time on my hands, so I would go on these vegan and raw food forums and just contribute. People were asking for weight loss advice, and trying to do this silly stuff like calorie restriction or water fasting or whatever, and I'd be like, why don't you just eat healthy for do that for a year and go from there. So that social media started for me in 2003. 2005, I started posting on another forum called Veg Source, and actually that was 2004. And then so 14, 15 years I've been on social media almost every day, just giving people advice on vegan lifestyle, weight loss, fitness. And then YouTube, I started YouTube in 2008, and went from there. It was Facebook, maybe 2007, Instagram 2013, maybe 2012. And today I think YouTube is definitely the most powerful. I wish I knew how powerful YouTube was back in the day when I started. I would have taken it more seriously. Mm-hmm. It is so powerful. Every day I get stopped in the street and my inboxes get smashed with questions and I can't even keep up. All around the world. If I go to New York or Thailand or Philippines, people recognise me just from YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody who's probably posting more frequently than yourself, and the just consistency over the years, right?
Yeah, I've averaged over 2 videos a day for 10 years now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
On average. And
some days it's 10 videos.
Yeah, because I was a bit manic. It's a full moon or something, but yeah, YouTube is so powerful. And I mean, I'd spend a lot of time coaching other people as well, Freya getting her channel up and going and just being by her side all the time, and Tori and now Natasha, and so I could do a lot more on my own channels and stuff, but I love spending time grooming up other people who've got massive potential. Mm-hmm. And that's good, because then that grows the female community, because most women don't really listen to guys that much. They're going to prefer to listen to from women, so it's important that we support the females who want to become YouTube celebrities and push them up.
So what are some of the main things that you would say to somebody to help them get social media, maybe just to get on social media?
Get out of your head, stop critiquing yourself. Don't worry about what people are thinking. I'm yawning now because I feel so relaxed. But some people are like, oh my god, I'm yawning in a podcast, and it's no, just give information, provide value, just smash it out. And we get too in our heads and we get pretentious and we put more importance on stuff that doesn't really matter. As long as you put something up that can help someone, if someone will laugh from that or they'll get some sort of value from that, then that's good enough. Mm-hmm. What I find on YouTube is, all the YouTubers I've coached over the years, and you probably know what I'm talking about, without mentioning any names, but they get maybe 50k or 100k or 200k subs, and they do less and less content because they think, I'm YouTube star now, I have to do really, really professional stuff. And that mentality just paralyzes them from taking any real action. And so then their channels start to dive bomb down. Because their fans are like, hang on, why can't you just put up some simple content? That's what you used to do. But people get better cameras, get better editing, and every video they're trying to outdo themselves. And it's good to have that attitude, but when it comes to social media, it's unsustainable. It's like trying to do a step. And people they do an hour and a half first time, then do an hour 20, then they end up maybe 45 minutes, and they're trying to shave off 20 seconds, and they can't do it, and they just no, just go there and do your best. Don't worry too much about the time or the views or the vanity meters that we have now of likes, subscribers, and views and all that stuff, and people they base their success on that. Don't worry about that too much. that's the side benefit. Focus on just giving value.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on creating content that if you're a noob, you'd find that valuable. Because that's who's watching YouTube, is noobs. Like if I want to watch something about an iPhone or fix a microphone or whatever, I'm a noob. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to look up how to fix this, how to be vegan, how to be high, So you've got to talk to the noobs because they're your audience, really.
Mm-hmm.
The experienced people, I don't watch any vegan videos because I know all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even watch videos of my friends because I know what they're going to say.
What do you watch?
I watch, what was I watching? I watched Conor McGregor's stuff today.
Oh, yeah.
Just to do a video about that. I watch stuff, how to fix my laptop or how to, adjust a derailleur or things like that.
So education.
Education. I go to YouTube to educate myself.
Yeah.
But today I was actually watching spiders versus wasps. Yeah.
So who wins?
The wasp almost wins 99% of the time, but I was trying to find out if there's a spider out there. If there's a spider out there that actually hunts wasps, and there is none.
Okay.
Occasionally a spider wins, but most of the time a wasp does. So I go to YouTube to educate myself. So as YouTubers, as people on social media, we have to understand that people go to educate themselves. And if you're looking to be educated, you don't really care if it's fancy production. You just want the information.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say you drop your iPhone in water and you go, how do I dry it out? And put it in rice. You don't need a high HD, 4K, amazing quality video to show you how to do that. All you need is some person with a non-shaky camera just showing you how to put your phone in the rice and get it done.
But don't you think it's changing now? I mean, the amount of people on YouTube, like you could go to YouTube and you could type in, I dropped my phone in water, how do I fix it? You're gonna see probably probably some of them are gonna be extremely high quality.
Yeah.
So
it's not necessary.
It's not necessary, but what I'm saying is like if somebody's feeling like they're being held back because there's all this high quality stuff out there, why would people watch my lower quality whatever?
That's a limiting belief. Because look at my videos are shit. I use most of my videos as an iPhone.
Yeah.
Or webcam. I do videos that take me 5 minutes to make, and some of them have like 10 million views, or 55,000 views, or 2 million views, or whatever. Some of my most complex edits never got more than like 5, 10, 50,000 views.
I found that too. Some of the videos that I've done, and I've really put so much energy into editing and trying to make it, and I'm thinking, this thing's gonna blow up. I put so much energy, and then it's like crickets. Right. But then other videos, like some of my most popular videos, I just sort of did on a whim, and I didn't expect anything to come from them, and then boom, they're getting hundreds of thousands of views. So
welcome to YouTube.
I guess you just never know, right?
Yeah, Freddie is a good example. We used to I put her video up on my channel. I eat 50 bananas a day, where I just interviewed freely. It's bad lighting. She just showed a midriff. She looked great. And she's just being herself, and she's so raw and so authentic and so innocent, and people just love that video. Got like 500,000 views. That launched her career.
I think that's the key thing, right? Is there's so much polished stuff out there that is good quality, high cameras, good production, but there's a certain sense that it's staged and it's not real.
That's TV. That's why YouTube got so famous, is because you've got the everyday girl and guy you can relate to. And people are like, that's my friend on my phone, that's the, and so that video we do freely, she's like, delete it, don't put it up, please don't put that up, and I put it up anyway, and then she saw the views coming, and she's like, oh my God, I told you. And then that's when we started going on there, and then we started doing reaction videos and troll videos and just having fun, and her channel blew up. It's all the videos that went viral, the real easy ones to make. One of them was like Uncle Chester kissing in public, got 2 or 3 million views. And those videos feel like, I don't do this, the camera's not quality, and I'm like, just relax, it'll work, and it works. So, and it's the same, even Tori's videos, one she got like almost 1 million views. She's just trying on different cycling jerseys, filming on an iPhone. That took 5-10 minutes to edit. And you got these people who go to film school and get like a DSLR camera and all this fancy stuff, and they get nowhere. So people, the biggest tip out there, even Gary Vee says it, he goes, it's all about quantity, it's not quality. If people can understand what you're saying, that's the quality. It doesn't matter about the crazy Spielberg effects. That's for Hollywood. If I want to watch quality, I don't go to YouTube, I go to the movie cinema. If I want to get educated, I go to YouTube.
What's your take on these different platforms now? Because YouTube's obviously evolved over the years, and now there's I mean, there's new social media platforms coming out all the time, and they're always changing, like Instagram stories, Tumblr. I mean, what are you focusing on now? There was a period of time where I imagine you were essentially just 100% on YouTube.
Yep.
You know, when YouTube was really in its sort of heyday, you were really seeing a lot of growth in your channel. And now Instagram, I mean, what else are you focusing on these days?
Just YouTube, really.
Mostly YouTube still?
Focusing on the young people on YouTube still.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't get all these other vegan YouTubers on YouTube, then my channel would be a lot bigger than it is now, but the community would be smaller. So, I helped out all these other YouTubers. It's probably like the top 30 vegan YouTube channels. I would say I personally helped them out, monetizing their account, helping with channel names. I probably helped out maybe 25 of the top 30, maybe or 20, that come through this festival in Thailand or from Adelaide or whatever.
For sure.
So I really enjoyed doing that. So grooming people up and just telling people get on YouTube, and show them how to get on YouTube, how to monetize their account, stuff like that. So YouTube's definitely YouTube's king, and the reason why I say that is YouTube's king and queen is because video content, and it can be long stuff. Instagram is good. That's crack cocaine. It's like poker machine stuff. People on that scrolling all the time. Yeah, for sure. But YouTube is the real emotional connection. I don't think people get a real strong emotional connection to an Instagrammer because it's very quick and it's just posed photo. It's not really deep. But YouTube, you like Trisha Paytas. Trisha Paytas is so she's crushing it. She's just train wreck, but she loves trolling it and she's got super confidence. So Trisha Paytas is what people should be studying at film school. If you want to be a professional YouTuber, you should watch Trisha Paytas because she breaks all the rules. She doesn't even have a quality camera. She uses a phone.
Okay.
She uploads on her phone. Her edits are crap. She's shaky. She has bad lighting. Her audio's almost always good, but it's not professional audio. It's good enough audio. And that's what it has to be. It has to be good enough, and more importantly, it has to be consistent as well. Mm-hmm. Good enough plus consistency plus a bit of drama and fun and comedy. People are staying around. Mm-hmm. And if you're consistent over time, people see that seriousness. And the more content you produce, the more people love that.
Mm-hmm. Why is it important?
It shows energy.
Yeah. You get that live essence, the energy of whatever's happening.
Like Times Square in New York.
Yeah.
So many people there. All the lights and there's energy there.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if they turn the lights off Times Square in New York. And people wouldn't go there, and then there's people would go there. So then where energy is, attention flows. Mm-hmm. And I've done it. I've seen it with my own channels or other people's channels. I stop uploading much and then drops off. Mm-hmm. So we're working with Natasha now. She's on 1.8 million views in the last 30 days. She's getting up to 1,000 subs a day. And she's starting to see the numbers rolling in and go, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So the more content she produces goes up. People have an insatiable appetite for social media content.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like we were saying just before this. Right now we're in this sort of co-working space here in Chiang Mai, and there's all these people who are here, and they're on their laptops or their tablets or whatever, and everybody's supposed to be working on something. Yeah. You look around at 80-90% of the screens, it's Facebook, WhatsApp,
exactly.
YouTube.
And people come to this place over here to be not distracted. I'm going to go to this co-working area. I'm not going to have any distractions.
The distraction is not external; it's on your screen. So if you're coming with your screen,
that's why people ask. Someone asked me today, "Is YouTube still a secure job?" I'm like, as long as people have got an iPhone or Samsung Galaxy in their hand or one of these Notes, it is. As long as you're smashing it out, it is.
Do you see YouTube for yourself as more of a job for your own income and your own security, or do you see it more as activism for veganism, or both?
Passion. I used to live on welfare into YouTube. Yeah. And if YouTube took all its money off the platform today, I'd still be banging out videos.
So why?
Because I love doing it. It's
why?
Because it gets people on the vegan bandwagon. So from 2008 to 2011, I didn't earn a single cent on YouTube. I sold nothing on there. I was just like, this is a great platform to spread the vegan message. And this is really cool. I didn't understand how powerful it was. If I did, I would have done more content. So I would get 100 views or 1,000 views occasionally and just put up content. And then I started with Mike Arnstein and saw his work ethic. He managing his family and his business and employees. I was like, man, I've got to work harder. Mike Arnstein's crushing it. I'm going to get out there and get that vegan message going. And
he's a crazy guy.
Yeah, big inspiration. Got a lot of time from Mike. Guy's got a lot of heart.
Oh, definitely.
And he's like the Lionel Sanders of the
yes,
the vegan world out there. So
exactly.
On events, and so Mike Arnstein, massive inspiration for me. Massive inspiration for me. And so I saw that, and then I started making a bit of money. I was like, because I signed up with Google AdSense. I was like, I'm making a bit of coin. And then the money started getting bigger and bigger. I was like, wow, this is actually becoming a full-time job, and I stopped getting welfare because it was only too much, and went from there. So for me, YouTube started off as an impact template, and now it's become impact and income. I don't make as much money as I used to make because of the apocalypse and all that stuff. And I swear on my videos, I've got a lot of copyright soundtracks, so I'm not whatever.
Yeah, it really is changing, right? Like what's monetizable. Do you do a lot of your videos?
Most of my videos aren't monetized.
They're not, yeah.
They've been like flagged as unmonetizable. Swearing, coarse language, vegans, it's just not advertiser friendly.
Is vegan not advertiser friendly? Like, are they? Do you think that they're?
It depends on the content.
Yeah.
It definitely depends on the content. If you're doing, as long as you're not swearing in a video, or showing graphic footage, then it's going to be fine. Yeah.
Do you think there's any?
So if you show Cube of Truth on YouTube, that'll monetize.
Yeah.
If you're showing like graphic animal slaughterhouse footage, that won't monetize. But actually, YouTube used to ban that stuff. I was the first vegan that I know of back in 2010 uploading slaughterhouse footage, and YouTube would delete the video.
Just delete it.
And then about a year later, they said, okay, if you put it up, we'll just age restricted. So
age restriction and no monetization.
No monetization on that video. But now they're pretty lenient on the slaughterhouse stuff. They won't monetize it most of the time. So no, vegan is not a bad word because there's so many vegan videos on YouTube now, and there's so many vegan products and brands and stuff. So it's not a bad word. As long as you're not swearing in your video or title, then you're good to go. Or showing too much nudity or skin. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the vegan movement, there's no way that we're gonna spread veganism at the same pace that is possible as without using social media. Like we have to use social media to get it out there. Like if you're out doing street outreach or these Cube of Truth events, people who are filming these conversations, like you can have a one-on-one conversation, or like this podcast, we could be having a conversation one-on-one. If we record it and we share it, that reaches how many more people?
Exactly. So there's out there forever.
It's exponential, the amount of reach that anything that you do within veganism, and that could be whether it's street outreach or whether it's doing fitness and lifestyle videos or cooking, anything, it has to be shared, because if it's not, you're only doing 1% of what you possibly can be doing, right?
That's why even though I don't do one-on-one coaching anymore, I have a Facebook group, and so people can sign up for that. And then they ask me a question, everyone can see the answer to that.
Right.
So then I'm not just replying to one person, it's like there's like maybe 400 people in the group, so 400 people get to read an answer.
Yeah.
And so that is really easy for me to do that.
Well, how many times does somebody ask you the same question?
Yeah. And then it's great, and I'll answer it, but it's great that it's like...
It's more efficient.
Sometimes like a massive, got a bigger microphone.
Yeah.
And reach more people.
Yeah, reach more people, for sure.
For the same effort.
Definitely.
More efficient, more effective. So
let's talk about coaching a little bit. What is different about the way that you would approach coaching somebody, as opposed to most other sort of fitness gurus or lifestyle and diet gurus? What are some of the main differences that you see? Because there's a lot of controversy around some of the advice that you give. And,
huge.
So outline for me, what are the main things that you teach that most other people are not teaching?
My biggest one is I always try to find out. I've been a personal trainer since 99 when I got registered, and 96 when I started doing it from friends and stuff. So 96 when I first started coaching people, and I learned about then you got to know what their goal is, and most people's goal is weight loss. So when I know someone's goal is weight loss or health, or maybe both, then I can just tune it to that. I can direct it. I can create the frame. We talk about weight loss, talk about health. We can talk about doing weights and doing stuff with people, what's your goal? If your goal is to lose weight, then boom, we just fast track to that. The best way to lose weight. High carb, low fat, vegan, ride a bike, do a bit of weights here and there.
That doesn't sound so far off of what a lot of people are doing though. Isn't that sort of what a lot of coaches would do? You'd sit down with a fitness coach or a lifestyle mentor, and they'd say, so what are your goals? And I'm sure a lot of them would be weight loss. So how do you approach that maybe differently than how other people may?
Well, I generally just tell people to say, send me a photo of the physique you're trying to achieve.
Okay.
Things like that. So you get really specific.
Yeah.
Or ask them, why do you want to lose the weight? What's going to happen in your life? So generally, just find out. So that is a pretty standard one. That's what I learnt back in the day.
Yeah.
I guess my controversy is I go at things differently, a bit more honest and Sagittarius-like, in that some of the stuff I say might be very blunt for some people, and they might take offence to it. But the biggest thing is just knowing what someone's goal is, where they are now, and how they're going to achieve that goal. And telling them the truth as well, because I get some guys, they want to look like a certain physique, and I'm like, show me the physique you want to look like, and they'll send me a picture of an athlete or celebrity, and I'm like, well, that person's obviously using pretty high dosage anabolic steroids, so unless you're willing to do that, then there's no chance you look like that. So it's just great to be able to tell them the truth from the get-go. Some of these people believe me, some don't, and I'm like, look, you'll find out eventually about the steroid thing or whatever, or the surgery thing or whatever, and then come back and let me know I was right or wrong. And another big one on Instagram is there's an app called Facetune or Body app, where girls and even guys are photoshopping their pictures to make themselves look like a bigger butt or a smaller waist or bigger muscles.
Yeah.
And so I call it social media doping.
Yeah.
It puts out this impossible standard, so their fans are like, wow, this person's got this crazy physique, I'll buy their product. In actual fact, you're just buying a Photoshop image, and it's false pretenses. But there's a lot of naive people out there who believe everything they read on the internet. So it's interesting like that.
What percentage do you think because we see all these advertisements for fitness programs and for protein powders and even gym memberships or whatever. I mean, what percentage would you say of those kind of photos are people who are using I guess physique enhancing drugs?
I'd say probably 99% plus Photoshop.
Really?
I remember when I first got my pump, called pump, that workout routine in the gym, pump. It's like
I've done P90X.
Yeah, sort of like it's called Les Mills pump. It was like choreographed weights to music, like aerobics with weights.
Gotcha.
And I started doing my pump course back in 1999, and the trainer there, he was going around teaching the people how to do it. He looked really, looked good, man. Like he's swole. And I'd be like, man, like, so how do you get his arms huge, man? He packs. And I was like really admiring his physique, And I kept asking him, like, what are you doing? What do you eat? What's the, he looks, I don't know, he looks like you, man. Like, he looks so standout. And he's like, look, dude, like, just shut up for a minute, Harley. Like, and it's just me, and he goes, I take steroids. And I'm like, what? He says, I take steroids. And he says, you're never going to have these arms unless you take steroids too. And I was like, no. But I really appreciate it. He goes, don't tell anyone. But I was very appreciative of his honesty. And
that's interesting that he would be so. Why do you think he was so open with you?
Just I was annoying him so much.
Oh yeah.
Because there's like a weekend class, and I guess he could see I was genuine, I was going to like hate on him or whatever, and I was just like, oh wow, yeah, okay,
yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I gave up on that goal. And I thought if I do enough pump classes, I'll look like him. But it's like I could do all the pump classes in the world, but unless I'm taking gear, I'm never going to look like him. So it was just. So I learned that the gym industry was just sending out all these steroid people to sell their creatine or protein shakes or gym memberships. But again, all these people are on steroids, and I'm taking steroids myself as well. And I can say they really do work incredibly, especially if you gain his muscle, transform your whole physique. And so. Yeah, so then I'd be working in gyms and people would talk what the goals were, and they'd show me a photo of someone and I'd be like, well, that's steroids. And a lot of people were like, what do you mean it's steroids? Steroids is cheating, I would never do that. And I'm like, well, you never got to look like that. And people would get disillusioned or they get angry with me or they're like, oh, that's what he's talking about. Or listen to some other trainer who's got a lie to my face. And so I got quickly disillusioned with the gym industry and pulled out after almost a year of working there and did my own thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you think about it, it's not like there's no drug testing in that industry. If you're a
drug
model,
testing on YouTube,
right? No drug testing on YouTube. If you're a model, you're promoting, a certain product. I mean, unless you happen to also be a competitive athlete, then that's one thing. But that's another story as well. I mean, we've seen with like you name a sport, right, and you can find proof that there's people who are using stuff. And especially when you think of the people who are solely in the business of selling protein powders and
aesthetics,
like there's zero drug control for that.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to sell a product on the basis of having achieved an aesthetic, a look that you have to be above everybody else. There's nobody's gonna want. If you just look like a normal guy, hey, I look like a normal guy. Buy my protein powders. Why do I need your protein powder? Right. So it's sales, right?
I learned it's easy to lie to someone than convince them they've been lied to.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy like that.
Well, I mean, for sure, and veganism is the same thing.
Bingo.
I mean,
Bingo.
Convincing people what's really going on and what they really need to eat for their health.
Yeah.
It's like
you won't die from protein deficiency. People really believe you'll die from protein deficiency, or you won't have protein.
Yeah, that's the main concern, and honestly, I think you'd probably agree that when you talk to people who have gone vegan, because there's lots of people who try the vegan thing. And they'll say things like, oh, I did it, felt good for a little while, and then I just didn't have any energy, or I just felt like I was, I was just hungry all the time, or they'll say my body was just saying I just needed protein. It's like their brain instantly goes to protein, as opposed to just like, man, you just weren't eating enough. You're just not getting enough calories, period, because if you've got a plate that's filled with cheese and animal products, it's going to be easily, say, 1,000 calories. You fill that same plate with the same amount of food from plants.
And veggies.
You're going to have way less calories. But it's just so interesting how all of this marketing on like how important protein is. Yeah. That's what people think first. They think, oh, it must be protein. Mm-hmm. They don't even think that it's just simply calories. It's just this brainwashing, right?
It's like people go vegan. Let's say someone eats a standard American diet, Australian diet, they have their cereal, they have their meat, they go for dinner, maybe have pasta and chicken or whatever, and then they go vegan, they do research, and actually I'm going to be a low carb vegan, I'm going to do spirulina shake, and then they go to dinner and have like a bit of lettuce and a handful of beans and a green tea, and all of a sudden they might lose weight a little bit, but then their energy's just going to bottom out. They go, I tried vegan, I was spending all the big bucks on organic, I read all the doctor's books and stuff, and it didn't work, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So they won't get enough carbohydrate. So that's why I harp on about the carbohydrate intake. Get enough.
Yeah. So what are the fundamentals that you would preach to somebody who's getting into a vegan lifestyle? What are those fundamentals?
I would say definitely sleep, water, sugar. This goes for it doesn't matter what you're eating.
Yeah.
If you're a meat eater or whatever, you've got to have enough sleep, water, sugars. Otherwise, you're going to fail in your performance, your health, your mood, your hormones. Everything's going to be less than what you would otherwise. So just to start with sleep, I'd recommend people go to bed at least 8, 9, 10 p.m. Some people will totally laugh at that, but there's a hormone called luteinizing hormone, which is produced by the pituitary gland, and it doesn't get really released or produced enough if you go to bed past 9, 10 p.m. So you'll have lowered testosterone or lowered estrogen if you're a woman. So that luteinizing hormone is really, really powerful. There's the sleep there, regulates all your serotonin, your melatonin. Everyone knows sleep's good. Early night, early rise.
Yeah, you're not going to have many people argue with you on that.
But people have got their families or work, and society is set up for that.
It's hard, man. It's hard to get enough sleep.
Then people, everyone's like half asleep, and then 10 cups of coffee a day, or modafinils or Ritalins or whatever, every single day, every few hours.
What about naps? You rate naps?
Naps are really powerful. Yeah. They're really good because again, they boost your luteinizing hormone, which will boost your healthy hormones.
I love taking naps. I take a nap almost every day, especially training for triathlon. Normally I'm training at least twice a day, so getting that nap in the second session of the day is always so much better. And that's on top of I try to get a minimum of 8 or 9 hours a night, and that's on top of that because I think the more you're training too, the more you got to sleep. I would say
100%. You're doing really well this year. Like you're getting a good lifestyle, and your gains are going right up. So it's very
feel like it. Yeah, having some success.
Yeah, it's just simple things. Sleep, water, sugar. It's like the Kenyans know that. So there's things. Carbohydrate intake. I'd recommend people start with at least 10 grams of carbs per kilo body weight per day. So if you're 60 kilos, it's about 600 grams of carbs. And you might need less than that, you might need more than that, but that's just a good template to go with. I'd also recommend cutting out oil from your diet for maybe a month, just as an experiment, and see where you go. Especially adding oil to your food. Just try and not add oil to your food for a month and see how much lighter and clearer your skin will be, how better you'll feel. Another one would be the water. Drink enough water so you're peeing clear every 2 to 3 hours. I like to start every day with 1 litre of water and have a litre of water before most meals. And then I'm peeing every 2 or 3 hours clear. My kidneys feel good, my blood volume's good. It's really good. At night time I get up a couple of times, go to bed, at the bathroom ideally. And it just feels good getting up instead of moving the body and then going back to sleep, go back to rest. A lot of people don't like getting up at night, but it's better to be hydrated and have a pee at night than to be dehydrated or dry mouth, which can also affect your dental health. If you don't pee at night time, you're probably dehydrated and your mouth's going to be dry than it has to be, and there'll be less saliva, which means less dental health. So saliva protects the teeth. I recommend have a water bottle by your bedside cabinet, or wherever you're sleeping, have a water bottle, just sip it. If you wake up, keep your mouth moist, keep the saliva going good, keep your chompers healthier.
For sure.
So basic things, and most vegans don't even get taught this. You read the average vegan book, it's like don't eat sugar, don't eat too much fruit, don't eat too much white rice, or carbs are good but not too many carbs. Carbs are good but not processed. Carbs are carbs under a microscope. Glucose and fructose is exactly the same. If you go to hospital in a coma, they give you a glucose drip. So it's like refined sugars will boost your performance. I'll save your life.
See, but this is where you would get into some controversy, isn't it? The amount of, people
just put walls up when you say refined sugar is good for you.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot of people who would say, there's a big difference between, say, eating, sugar from fruit and sugar from refined carbohydrates. Do you think there's a difference?
Under the microscope, there's not. Glucose is the same from where it comes from. So with fructose, the fruit gives you nutrients, your fibers, all the micronutrients. Right. And I say, I eat more fruit than the last 18 years than most people I've ever met in my life. So I'm the fruit guy. Definitely pushing the fruit. And I say have refined sugar to boost the simple sugar intake every day. You got to eat your fruit. You can't just live on refined sugar. You'll die of scurvy. Right. There's not enough nutrients in sugar to live off that forever. Right. No one's going to do that anyway, because you're going to get hungry for other things. But I say adding sugar to your smoothies, your fruit salad, just try it. You cut your oil out, watch your insulin sensitivity rise, your insulin resistance will go down, your mood will go up, your desire or the dependence on stimulants like caffeine or prescription meds like Ritalin will go down, your mood will be better. Just do it for a month before you knock it, and then go from there. And here in Chiang Mai, all the leanest vegan cyclists, they're all the sugar bats. Like you and Tori and me and Natasha and everyone, regardless of our fitness. Like, I'm not that fit at the moment, but I'm still very lean. Yeah. Natasha's not fit at the moment, she's still very lean. Tori's flying at the moment, and she's very lean, but they're all, got varying levels of fitness. You're fitter than me at the moment, but we're all eating the same stuff, and we all look very similar.
Pretty much.
So it's like,
pretty much.
Yeah, so
I think there's this idea that, some people will say that you're promoting like tons and tons and tons of sugar.
Enough that you need.
Enough that you need.
Have more.
So for somebody who's sedentary, like who's not doing, obviously that's not ideal, right? Because fitness should be part of health. Let's say somebody.
Let's say in a hospital with 2 broken legs, 2 broken arms, your appetite will naturally decrease. Have you found that when you cut your training?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But let's say you've only got an appetite for 2,000, maybe 2,500 calories a day or something like that.
Because you're in a hospital with 2 arms, broken legs.
Yeah, so you're not doing anything. Would you be more inclined to advise people to get their calories from whole foods just because of getting those nutrients, or would you because the way I look at it is adding sugars for me is like I think we agree that we need to have a certain amount of whole foods, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And then the added sugar, like for me, is more. It's going to help my performance because for me to get the same amount of glucose from whole foods, I have to eat so much more food, fiber, volume of food.
Extra weight. Your gut's sticking out all day because you're eating like 100 potatoes a day. We can have maybe 20 or 30 potatoes a day and some sugar, and you get more of a flat stomach. So if someone's chasing aesthetics, sugar's going to help them have a flatter stomach because we have less food they have to eat. In terms of nutrient-wise, I've never met anyone in my life who's had a nutrient deficiency from not eating enough whole foods. When I used to live on McDonald's and total junk, I didn't have any nutrient deficiencies I was aware of. I had glucose deficiency. I wasn't carved up enough. I had too much fat in my bloodstream from all the McDonald's and oils and stuff. But people talk about micronutrients and stuff, and it's important. But look what the average person eats. The average person eats junk
Yeah.
And then no one's dying from nutritional deficiency. They're dying from heart disease and too much fat and proteins. They're dying getting cancers for various hormonal reasons. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, I've never met anyone who has a real nutritional deficiency.
Yeah, so I guess the main thing is getting that junk out, all that high oily food
and
animal products.
No one got fat from a diet of rice, potatoes, beans, fruits, vegetables, and sugars.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of vegans fail on the vegan lifestyle because they're trying to be too clean and they've got nothing to eat, not enough calories, and they're going AWOL. So to answer the question, if someone's sedentary in hospital, 2 arms, broken legs, then they'll quickly be able to know how much potatoes and sugar they need. And if they feel better with no sugar, then yeah, try that, because you're laying in bed doing nothing. You don't have kids depending on you. You don't have to run a business. You don't have to have sex 3 or 4 times a day to keep your partner satisfied or yourself satisfied. So your performance when you're laying in bed with 2 arms, broken legs, the performance requirements is very low. You're probably not going to even need to have any sugar. I call sugar a PEF, a performance enhancing food. So the more you need to perform or want to perform, the more sugar you're going to find you're going to need as a backup source. Right now I'm drinking a tamarind juice. Its first ingredient is tamarind juice, and then sucrose, and then fructose syrup. And so it keeps me sharp, it keeps me on point, and it's a performance enhancing food. But if I was here eating a potato, that'd be good, but I need something a bit more sweet. Or maybe I had some fruit here and be like, sugar in this banana, so a bit unripe or it's picked too early. But with refined sugar, you can have that caloric certainty. You can guarantee your sugar macros for the day. And if you add it to your whole foods vegan diet, you get all your fibre, everything else, your micronutrients, but you just get that little boost, a little bump up of sugar. Just like when athletes take hormones to boost their levels up a bit, they're going to have better health, they're going to have better performance. It's the same with sugar. In nature, you'll get a lot more. The fruit will always be ripe and wholesome, but these days the fruit's picked so early, it's got hardly any sugar compared to what it used to should have.
It's crazy when you get actually good fruit and you taste what it should taste like.
And you don't want any sugar to it. It's really good. Like I've had killer mangoes. Mangoes that will just drop you onto your knees. They're so good.
Yeah.
Literally, you'd be like, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to eat mangoes off this tree for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have any sugar. You don't need any sugar because there's so much sugar in that fruit.
Yeah.
You go buy a mango from Whole Foods or from a market in Australia, and it's bland, it's tart.
Yeah.
So a good way to measure food value is called the Brix meter, the Brix values, and the higher the Brix level means the higher the sugar, the higher the nutrition. All foods should have a high Brix value, but today's soils or the picked early or certain varieties, the Brix value is low. So by adding in sugar, you're going to increase your Brix values in your food, and you're going to have better performance. So people just have to try. I always say, try before you deny.
You've had this experience, right? I mean, you used to be fruitarian.
Yeah, I used to be full on refined sugar, like the devil. I was like, no, refined sugar.
Yeah.
And then in 2009, I was in Canterbury retired with Fred Patnard and Freely, and we're drinking cane juice, and Fred Patnard says, "Oh, I have a bit of sugar now." Then I'm like, refined sugar? Yeah. Because he's like the raw food guy, and I was like, how does it make you feel? He goes, that's fine, man. He goes, what do you think you're drinking, Harley? You're drinking cane juice. All sugar is dehydrated cane juice. It's dehydrated grass. So
that sort of got the gears turning a little
bit. I was like, that's pretty logical, that's pretty honest. And I was like, gee, that's true. And then I had some cooked bananas in 2010 in the Philippines, and they had like glucose syrup on top of them. And I remember eating those bananas and just be like, holy shit, I was like buzzing. My cells have got that boost of sugars in there. And people say, it's a sugar spike. It's just it's what your sugars run on, glucose and fructose. And so when you have that surge of energy, that is good.
When people talk about sugar spikes and all that, it's like you eat a meal, you should have a spike.
If you don't, something wrong with your body.
Yeah, what people don't understand when you talk about diabetes and stuff is those like elevated levels.
Sustained.
And that's due to fat. And
sustained, that's it. That's called insulin resistance, where there's not enough insulin to push the sugar level down.
Right.
So that causes all your diabetic metabolic syndrome issues. So increase the carbohydrate means a decrease in insulin resistance, and to decrease the fat means an increase in insulin sensitivity.
Right.
So, and I help people cure diabetes type 2 or on this high carb refined sugar lifestyle, definitely. And type 1 diabetics all have improved.
Yeah.
Hemoglobin A1C levels, which is your glycated hemoglobin, all their levels drop down to like 5 or 6. They have less medication, they feel better, they lose weight. Try it out before you knock it. Try it before you deny.
I remember when I was first getting into veganism, I found like Dan the Man. His videos first, Life Regenerator. I think he says a lot of good stuff. He's very like motivating, especially for a lot of the ethical stuff and just cleaning out your body. But there is that sort of restrictive thinking you get into.
For sure, it's unsustainable.
And it's not only him. There's so many people who are sort of vilifying carbohydrates and things like that.
That's the trend.
And
it's the mainstream.
But I remember because I was getting into veganism, and just from an ethical standpoint and from a health standpoint too. And I started getting really lean, and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. But then at a certain point, it was like I was just really hungry all the time, and I was just like, I remember I used to keep sauerkraut in my fridge, and I would just be like, oh, like I don't need to eat, and then I'd go and just like eat sauerkraut, and it's like there's no calories in there. And I remember one day, finding your videos, and just I think you were just eating like a big thing of rice, like promoting like just rice and soy sauce. And I'm like, I'm gonna give that a go. And I remember I just made a big thing of rice and soy sauce, and I was just feasting on it, and it was just like that satiation that I'd been missing, and that's just really, it's important to have a healthy relationship around food. And within the vegan community, there are a lot, there's a lot of people who come to veganism and they develop orthorexia and things like that, or even people who have eating disorders and it sort of brings them to veganism. Like it's an issue. It's something we need to talk about, and I think it's something that you've done a good job of really sort of getting a bit of a healthier, sort of more relaxed approach to what you can eat, and not fearing carbohydrates and that kind of thing.
I always like to teach people focus on productivity versus your weight. Your weight will take care of itself. But if you're, a lot of people come to veganism who are anorexics, and I've been anorexic myself, so I can relate, but people come to veganism often to hide their anorexia, so that they can cut their food choices down even more. And so, which can be good in a way because they're coming to the right side, but then they can take it too far and get sick. And then people go, oh, look at that vegan, they're deadly ill. And then vegan gets a cross against his name.
I had a great conversation with David Banana. About because he's got a history of eating disorders as well, and we went pretty deep into all that stuff on that episode. So if anybody's listening to this and you're struggling, that's another episode that might be good to check out. I don't know if you've checked that out or not.
Not yet. I don't listen to anyone's podcast, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Slack. I'm not that I don't like it, but I've got so much audio I've got to get through on my phone already.
No, it's all good.
I definitely rate the podcast format, because you can be watching this podcast, listening to this podcast, washing dishes, changing nappies, cleaning bikes, walking to school, eating food
on a plane, whatever. Yeah, for sure.
Replay it. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah, and I like the idea of having long form conversations. I mean, there's lots of really short and snappy content out there, and the podcast format's kind of cool because you get to just sort of just have a longer form, more of a relaxed, not worrying too much about going over time or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, having said that, you may want to start wrapping it up. I would like. There's one question I wanted to ask you.
Ask me anything. Nothing's too personal.
So if you could have every single person in the world, right, understand one thing with crystal clarity, and so everybody in the world understands one thing that they don't now already, with crystal clarity, what would you want them to understand?
The best way forward for everything on the planet is high carb, low fat, vegan, cyclist lifestyle.
Why cyclist as well?
Well, because we can all be high carb vegans, but we're all driving cars and the traffic's getting worse and worse. I also recommend vasectomies, but maybe that's another podcast. But be high carb vegan, high carb, low fat vegan. It's increase the mood of everybody, the weight, people have less weight issues, the diabetes crisis would totally be eradicated, especially type 2. The heart disease would drop right off, the cancers, the obesity, everyone would be carbon up, be fruit everywhere, rice everywhere, just fit, lean cyclists everywhere. Like it'd be fantastic. It'd be like a total dream. So that's would be my thing. Would be if everyone in the world knew that a high carb, low fat, vegan cyclist way of life is the gold ticket to create a much better world, then that would be a fantastic one. Because vegan alone is great, but it's not the best, because you can be vegan and still obese, eating heaps of oily stuff, and it's better for the animals for sure, but it's it's not going to help the pollution levels that much with traffic and stuff because you're driving everywhere because you're so fatigued from all the fat. But if you're carbon up, you go, I want to move my body. It's the thing, people are sedentary, but like, why are they sedentary? 2 arms, 2 broken legs in hospital, okay. But that's a minority. Most people are sedentary because they don't have enough energy, which comes from carbohydrate.
For sure.
And so they eat too much fat, and they feel sludgy, you've got excess weight. And when you're fat and you've got excess weight and undercarb, you don't move nothing except for your hand to pick up the remote control or that thumb on the phone to scroll up. So if you carb up, you won't want to be sedentary anymore. People say, what if I just sat on the couch and ate 6,000 calories of rice a day? One, you couldn't do that for more than a couple of days because you'd get sick of eating so much rice and have no appetite to do that. And 2, you got to start to want to move. You're just going to be jittery, you're going to be fidgety. Like, I can't sit still longer than maybe 10 hours. I want to go move. It's not because of nervous energy, but I just love getting my blood flowing, and it's healthy. I have a sedentary job where I'm at least 70 hours a week on the computer. At least 70 hours a week on the computer all the time. Mm-hmm. So to avoid blood clots and deep vein thrombosis from sitting down so much, I like to move every hour. Just walk around the house, do a few push-ups, ride the bike to the shop, come back with more food. Mm-hmm. So it's not healthy to sit down for long periods of times. And so sedentary lifestyle, we should be trying to avoid that.
For sure.
By riding our bikes as transport. Mm-hmm. Ideally, whenever possible. Not all the time for some people, but more is better. Burn more fat, less oil.
Yeah, man, it's great. You're super inspiring that is what you want to see happen in the world, mm-hmm. and that's what you're working towards every day.
Yeah, well, I created that here in Chiang Mai. I mean, you've been here for all the festivals, haven't you? Pretty much.
Not here, but Thailand. Originally, I remember like watching your videos of you traveling.
No, but when did you've been to all the fruit festival here?
Yes, the first couple of years, I think I was just for like a couple of days.
You saw the people were here.
Yeah. For sure, man. I mean,
that was like a little snippet into what the world could be like.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have lots of drama, and some of those people were like. Anyway, but that's a snippet of like that. Vegan cafes getting full house, bikes everywhere, just bikes all over the road. Like that's sort of a utopia that will work, could work. But so it's interesting. But I think after organising those events and having I think we had like 500 or 600 people here in 2016, and some of the dramas and stuff unfolding. It's almost like humans just can't get along, even if we are.
Well, have you read 'Sapiens? I'm listening to 'Sapiens now.
No, you said it the other night.
I really recommend. I haven't finished the whole thing, but they're talking about how one of the things about humans is we have the ability to sort of cooperate in larger numbers, but I mean in practicality, humans. I mean, I'm probably going to butcher this. Everybody should check out 'Sapiens if you haven't read it. But the idea is that you can only get to a certain number. I think it's about 150. And that's any more than maybe 100 or 150 people, and there's generally going to be a split. Like you can only have. So I don't know, and I'm probably butchering that. You should read it, check it out. But it's difficult. Organizations, right? If you look at large organizations, right? Like you have hierarchies within organizations. You can't just have one person looking after everybody. In organizations, you have like a hierarchy of people. In different teams. So it's when you talk about organizing events or having organizations, communities and stuff like that, it's an interesting topic. But I think the main thing though is everybody there was, although there's bound to be drama and whatever, everybody sort of understood what you're basically said. That it's important for everybody to be high carb vegan and to be cyclists. To understand that we got to keep ourselves healthy and we got to ride our bikes around and use less plastic, all that kind of stuff, right? Just that mentality, which despite all the drama or whatever, that did sort of brought everybody together. Right?
And also just seeing the personal transformations in people, like having relationships or YouTube channels, got people off the back of my festival, and just like the times and the doi, the girls and the guys, and just like and drug free, 99.9% of them, and so just seeing that, that was like a science experiment. That was really cool. And just how deep people can push themselves if they've got like a peer group pushing them up.
Absolutely.
Especially the girls. Especially some of the times the girls at the door, like Tori or Anna, or just having that peer expectation and they just crush it. So very good times.
Yeah, man.
Good times.
Definitely. Cool. Well, you're putting out heaps of inspiring content and have been for years, man. So continue to do that.
Yeah, you're good at doing podcasts. You're a good interviewer.
Thanks, man.
This is going very, very smoothly.
Yeah, man. I think we covered a lot of good stuff, and I hope people can take away.
Well, if people got any questions, we can do a follow up on this.
For sure, man. Yeah, if you got any questions, let us know, and we can do episode 2 with Harley, do more Q&A. Yeah, man. Well, it's been good chatting.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Cool, man. We'll catch you later.
All right, done.
So there you have it, a bit of insight into the mind of one of the most influential vegans on the planet. If you haven't already checked out his YouTube channel, check him out at youtube.com/Durianriders, and that's with an S. But if you just search Durianrider on YouTube, you'll find him. And from his YouTube, you can find links to his other social media profiles, such as his Instagram and Facebook. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you did, it would be really great if you could help support the show so that this thing can grow. How can you do that? The first thing you can do, tell people about it. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, anybody you think might enjoy the show. The next thing you can do is subscribe to the podcast, especially on iTunes. Depending on when you're listening to this or watching it, it may not be up on iTunes yet, but it will be up there soon. So yeah, subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen, really. But if you could leave a review on iTunes, particularly, that would be really, really awesome, just to help the show get more traffic. You can also subscribe on YouTube, which would be fantastic, and drop us a comment if you feel inclined to do so. And if you really want to support the work that I'm doing financially, you can support me on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Jason Fonger. Also, if you have a vegan-friendly business and would like to sponsor an episode of the show, please reach out at theveganchampionpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to learn more about me and keep up to date about what I'm doing, check out my website at jasonfonger.com. You'll find all of my social media links there too. And if you'd like to contact me, you can do so by sending an email to jasonfongerinfo@gmail.com. That's all for today. Thank you so much for checking out the show. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace out. This episode of the Vegan Champion podcast is brought to you by Matt Chalmers. Check him out on Instagram at MattChalMusic. That's at MattChalMusic. Check him out on the Instagram.